Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Nick. And I just want to say thank you, everybody, for joining me. So, a couple things we want to talk about today. As everyone knows, it's the 1st of September, and yes, it's true. It's already September, which seems ridiculous to me. But what some of you might not know is that September is Safety Month, Realtor Safety Month. So, kind of a big deal, kind of something that's near and dear to my heart. I'm a big fan of safety. I think as a husband, as a father, just any individual, I think it's our job to make sure that we're always constantly trying to make ourselves better prepared, basically, to provide safety and security for our families, for ourselves, and for our loved ones. And there's a lot of different ways we can do that. There's training, there's tools that we have, and there's also situational awareness. We'll cover a couple of those kind of things, but there's something that you need to always be taking, making yourself think about, constantly training yourself on, and really getting that mindset down. And as this is Realtor Safety Month, this is something that we can talk about a little bit this month. And something that's pretty cool is the Women's Council of Realtors is going to be putting together a big event tomorrow at GEPAR. You can actually still sign up for this. A couple cool things about that is, one, they're going to have some great speakers out there. See, who do we have? They've got a couple guys. They've got a guy he's a pistol instructor. They've got a security guy that's going to be talking, and they've got someone from El Paso's finest, an active duty police officer out there telling us, give us some tips, things of that nature. Some of the cool things about it tomorrow is they're going to be providing lunch, and it's free. So I know as realtors, we love to hear all of that kind of stuff, something to make us better as individuals, free food and free time. So that's great. That's something that's pretty important. I think if you can get in there, space is limited, so make sure that you can sign up. We can send out that link, or it should be in everybody's email if you're on that. But that's something that's definitely you want to take out. So one of the things that I think that we really need to talk about as far as safety and why realtors in general need to pay attention to this, which is why I think it's so cool that the Women's Council of Realtors and GEPAR's putting this on. But I mean, everybody needs to worry about what they're at, where they're going, if they're at a restaurant or sitting in the car with cases. But realtors in general, we put ourselves in some pretty freaky situations. I mean, I don't think there's a single realtor out there that hasn't had that hinky feeling or thought, this is kind of weird. I mean, and I'm not just talking to the women, guys too, but we have our pictures out there, all this kind of stuff. People can call us and say, hey, I'd really like you to show me this house in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes that can happen. And you're out there and you're alone. You're with just that individual. And sometimes there's never even sometimes you don't think about it. It's just one of those things, and especially as a realtor, you really get wrapped around, I want to sell this house. I want to get this, I want to get this listing taken care of. I want to get my clients taken care of. I want to take these guys. I know they want to buy a house. And so you get wrapped around that aspect of it, and you don't really think about what if this individual's intentions might not be pure, right? Or it could just be some situation where they realize, hey, this is something that could happen, right? Target of opportunity, right? Like they might realize, hey, I'm out here with somebody who's going to know, and then something can happen, right? And so what are some ways that we can really kind of set ourselves up for success in that situation? Okay, so like I said, tools. I'm a big fan of tools. I think that what we're everyday carry, an EDC is what I mean when I'm saying tools. So what's something that we could carry every single day that we have with us? If you're in my office, you know that I'm always constantly harping on, don't have your overconfidence in tools. They're great. It's cool to have, but don't start thinking that it's some kind of magic wand. For those of you who saw the video where I let Nikita stab me with her taser, why did I do that? She had her taser up and was showing us her new shiny toy, which it did look very impressive, and it sounds real scary, right? But she was like, hey, if anybody comes after me, I'll just tase them with this, and then I'll run off while they're laying on the ground moaning or whatever the case is. And I said, and it's one of those ones where I explained, I said, hey, look, that kind of taser is not really going to do that. It's a good deterrent. I would definitely say, hey, pull it out, make the noise, and you might get lucky. And that other guy might think, maybe I'll step back. But don't go forward thinking that you're gonna stab somebody and they're just gonna pass out. We had a long conversation on that, and finally Nikita's like, nope, that's what's gonna happen. So I said, all right, let's do it. Let's hit me with the taser. Let's see what happens. She completely thought I was gonna shit myself when she stabbed me with the taser. What happened? Nothing. Now she got a little crazy afterwards, got into a frenzy and stabbed me like 19 more times and made my teeth rattle with all the electricity that was going through my veins. But the point is that didn't happen, right? Like her expectation was that she would hit me, I'd fall to the ground incapacitated, and she could slowly collect herself, walk off, maybe even take a picture of me, put it on TikTok or whatever it is. So that didn't happen, right? So what did we find out? Our tool wasn't as impressive and it wasn't that magic wand, right? So another thing is mace, pepper spray. Those are all good things to have too. In fact, in honor of Realtor Safety Month, Karina has volunteered to spring with her pepper spray. I believe we're going to do that on Friday. So we'll see what happens, right? My vote, it's not going to incapacitate. Her vote, I'm going to pass out. We'll see who's right. Maybe not. Maybe she's got the good stuff. I don't know. But I guess we'll find out. So stay tuned for that one, for Realtor Safety Month video, pepper spray with Nick. So let's see what happens. Now, the other one, there's another big one, guns. I happen to be a big fan of guns. But there's a lot of people out there who say, hey, I was going to go get my gun, and then no matter what happens, I've got this. Well, let's think about this. If you're not trained properly with a gun, right? Like if you don't know how to draw it, you don't know how to put it against somebody and then actually fire the weapon without blowing off your pinky toe, I've seen it happen, guys, then it's not going to work. It's not any good. You're just giving somebody else basically a free gun, right? That's not what we're looking to do here. So if you go out and get one of these tools, especially if you decide to go out and get a gun, and if you decide to carry said weapon, you need to go out and you need to learn how to use it, right? And a lot of people think, well, I got this gun. If anybody comes after me, I'll just do it. When are you going to figure it out? Would you rather figure it out on the range, or would you rather figure it out when some big giant guy is coming after you and wants to take whatever you've got? Right? That's not when you're all of a sudden going to become John Wick and you're going to pull it out all perfect and, you know, all your great little angles and all the rest of that stuff. And then of course you forgot to take it off safety, whatever the case is. No, the answer is train. Okay. So if you've got those tools, number one, do not build them up in your head to be something they're not. All right. These are something that will help you in your safety situation, but you can't rely solely on those. Okay. And what that's going to come back to is, like I said, training. So what else could we do? I think everyone, I mean, I'm a huge fan of jujitsu. Okay. Case in point. That's why my face looks like this. Okay. Hey, I like to go over and I like to train jujitsu. Now, why do I like to? And I'm not saying that's the only thing that you should train, although it probably is the best thing you can train, in my opinion. But you should go out there and you should train that stuff. There's schools everywhere. El Paso, Las Cruces. There's a lot of great schools. Hit me up. I can let you guys know exactly where I suggest anyone goes over and try out for a week for free. A couple of reasons why I think it's important. I think there's a study out. It might not be the most accurate, but I believe it's probably extremely accurate. The average American man thinks he's about 4,000% more effective in a street fight than he really is. And I think that's probably pretty true, right? Because we imagine ourselves, I'm going to be Jean-Claude Van Damme. And if 10 dudes pick on me in a bar or say something wrong to my wife, I'm just going to start karate chopping everybody around, throw them over the bar. I got this. In reality, what's going to happen is I'm going to get my butt kicked in front of my wife if I try to stand 10 dudes. Now, why is jujitsu? Is jujitsu going to give you the tool to beat up 10 guys in a bar? No, but it's going to let you know that you're not as bad as you think you are. Case in point, I've been training jujitsu for many years now. Last night, I got beat up by a guy who I thought I was going to trounce. Right? The guy beat me all over the place. Look at it. Crazy, right? Which I'm appreciative of, because to be honest with you, I was thinking yesterday I was basically the baddest dude around for a while. You start building yourself up in your head. And that's what I love about jiu-jitsu, because I go out on those mats and I get trounced and I'm like, maybe I'll watch my mouth the next time somebody accidentally bumps into me. Not important. I don't know what this guy's got. I don't know what his mindset is. I do know that I can defend myself, but maybe, nice. Thank you, Ken. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was about, it's not important. But the point is, guys, when you're doing this, it's really good to know what you're capable of and to know that you don't know what everybody else is capable of. And just because you aren't taking something to the next level doesn't mean someone else isn't, right? Just because all I might want to do, like case in point, if somebody does bump into me, or if I'm in a real estate situation, I'm showing the property, and sometimes you get frustrated, maybe the client gets frustrated, instead of pulling that forward and we start arguing or something along those lines, I might just want to argue and then it's over, right? What if that person's like, well, I'll just have to stab you now? The other person has a say, right? So that's one of those really good things to know. That's why knowing what your tools can do, and then knowing what you can do. Like when you go into those training things, you might realize, there are people out there that can ball me up. Maybe I shouldn't put myself in such a crappy situation. So karate versus jiu-jitsu. I love you, Ken. Karate loses jiu-jitsu every time. Unless you're watching that show Paper Tigers, which by the way is pretty entertaining. It's fallible. For the jiu-jitsu is not as good, but it is pretty entertaining. It's got Master Ken. Check it out. It's awesome. So we've got that. So we've got our tools. We've got our everyday carry, basically, right? Our EDC. We've got all that stuff. But nothing's going to beat situational awareness, okay? That's what the most important thing we can do. And that's the other thing, too, guys. Before I move on from this, there's a lot of people out there saying, in fact, we've done this. We've pulled people in, and I think it's important to go over there and have like the like the seminar, right? The self-defense seminar, where you go in there for one day and you learn, hey, this is, whatever, karate chop, and this is a kick to the groin, and this is if he touches you here, you height, right? One of those kind of things. It's all great. It's all cool, all that kind of stuff. No one's going to become a ninja in one day. Case in point, Ken is on this call. Ken's like a 29th degree black belt. That didn't happen in one day. That was through constant discipline, going in there, training, getting kicked in the face a billion times, whatever the case is, and that's where he became the level he was. The coolest thing about those days, though, is you go in there and you realize, oh, wow, I really am not paying attention enough. I'm not doing certain things like that. But I want everybody to understand that one day training, you are not a ninja. It's just not going to happen. And I want everybody to understand that. It's almost as bad as having those tools that you think are so great. Don't be the guy. You see it on the videos where the girls come back and they say, I'm going to show my husband the move I just learned today, and then they end up getting kicked in the leg or whatever the case is. Don't do that, right? If you want to start training, go in there and set up whatever it is. I don't care if it's karate, Krav Maga, jiu-jitsu, whatever it is that you decide to go do, make sure you are consistent at that and you can understand where you're at. Okay, anyways, so situational awareness, what are we going to do? So if we're going to, I'll give you a couple of examples on where you wouldn't want to do these kind of things. Start paying attention to that little voice inside. If I'm going to walk down a dark alley to get to a property downtown, I'm going to go over, I'm meeting a client at a place. Should I walk down this dark alley at night? No, right? Don't do that. If I'm sitting there and, let's see, what are some other ideas? So if somebody calls you up and you just have that weird feeling, right? And they're like, hey, I'd like you to show me a house in Chaparral, New Mexico at 10:30 at night. But I don't really want to give you my ID. I don't really want to tell anybody. I just want to meet you there. Well, guess what? I'm not going to show that property at 10:30. I don't care if you're a man or woman. Here's another good one. If somebody calls you and says, hey, I'd like to see this property, but I'd like to see it naked. And I'd like you there, though, so I can ask you questions about this property. You laugh. But we've seen that happen here at the office. People legitimately called in with that answer. So let me tell you what, listen to that voice inside that says, no, that's crazy. Why would I ever agree to something like that? One of the craziest things is people who get attacked, and this is anybody, to include realtors, but people who actually get attacked by people, usually these are the people that they've interviewed afterwards, had that sense that something was wrong. Like I saw the guy come in and I thought about crossing the street or getting away or keep my distance, but I didn't want to offend him. I didn't want to embarrass myself or embarrass others or something along those lines. Let me tell you what, I don't give a shit if you embarrass somebody or offend somebody. If you're having one of those feelings and somebody's giving you that weird heebie-jeebies, get out. Get out of there. I mean, that happens all the time. We were just talking to my leasing agent today where somebody showed up. She's sitting there on her phone, collecting what's going to happen to the next time, just showed the property about to go. Somebody walks up to the door, doesn't announce himself, walks up to where she's at in her car, says, I want to see this property. I had an appointment. She's like, I didn't have this appointment. And everything about the guy was weird. He was saying things that were untrue. He was given those weird feelings. And to her credit, she's like, look, I don't feel comfortable. I'm sorry, I'm leaving. If you want to do that, you can call the office. You can go through our proper protocols, which is truly important. That way we know where you are. Just as important, they know that we know who you're with. Because guess what? It's no longer a target of opportunity. That's something that's going to come back to haunt them. And there might be a bad guy or something out there that's they're with you and they think, who's going to know? If they know somebody's going to know, chances are that's not when they're going to do it. You're a lot safer than if they know someone out there knows who you're with, what's going on. So that's why you really want to get out there and follow these protocols, right? Like you got some really great stuff. And one of the really cool things that I actually just heard about was the central lock lockbox, right? Or again, our leasing agent was letting me know about this. So you go in there, you can actually set it up to where it's got like a safety feature where once you open it up, it continues to ask you. It's like every 30 to 60 seconds. I think it's every 60 seconds where it continues to say, are you okay? And you click it. Yep, I'm okay. Yep, I'm okay. Yep, I'm okay. And that's a really cool feature. Now, I know a lot of you are probably like, that sounds like a big pain in the ass, Nick. I would never do that because I wouldn't want to sit there and do that every 30 to 60 seconds. You're right. It probably is a pain in the ass. And 99.9% of the time, it's not important. In fact, God willing, it's never important to you. You just continue to do that and it's never going to be a problem. But that one time where you really were like, oh man, I should have done that. Like, I wish I had something like that. And again, like I said before, let's think about that. You don't know who you're dealing with. What if this guy's really strong or has a weapon or whatever the case is? And let's say that instead of every 30 to 60 seconds, what if it's every 5 minutes? What if it's every 30 minutes? But I don't care. Let's say 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Somebody can do a lot of damage in 5 minutes. Case in point, I got my butt kicked last night a lot in under 5 minutes, right? That can happen to anybody. And not only that, time is of the essence. If you are injured, if somebody does hurt you, I sure hope somebody gets the alert as soon as humanly possible. Another key point on that, though, is make sure whoever it is that you have as your safety contact is someone that you can rely on to call you back and check on your safety. Now, in this case, she has someone who's very important that will make sure, boom, the second she gets that call, man, she's calling in, see what's going on. I personally have one of these features on my watch, right? So I go out running all the time. And sometimes when you run really fast and you stop, like whatever it is. Like for me, I like to run, I'll do push-ups or whatever the case is, and some of them are not paying attention. Gives you like a 10-second thing where you can stop that safety feature. Now, for me, it happens quite a bit. I have someone who, I'm not going to name his name, but Brian Birds is my safety feature. He's my safety contact on here. And whenever it goes off, he's alerted that I'm basically dying, right? In El Paso, I'm expiring from the sun. I've got a broken femur. Anything could be, a mountain lion's on me, right? Who knows? He doesn't know. He also doesn't call. So that's what's really important, is maybe I should change my safety contact. And that's what you guys should think about too. Whoever you have for your safety contact on these amazing safety features, make sure it's someone who's going to be, maybe less busy than Brian. I'll give him a little bit ahead on that. But the point is guys, make sure it's somebody who can contact you, who can reach out to you, somebody who's paying attention. If they're in meetings all day, if it's a doctor and they could be in a surgery, that's probably not the best person to have as your safety contact. But that is truly important. And it could be important for a lot of reasons, because we have another agent here who does that, and she just doesn't click it. So she sends it out to her husband all the time, and her husband's always like, what's going on? Where's she at? What's happening? I don't know. And she's like, well, I just had a ham sandwich. I don't know. I forgot about it. I didn't think about it. So that's the other thing too. If you do sign up for that, click the button, because then people are freaking out for no reason. But it's good. I guess you can test who your safety contact is and see if they're really doing that. So anyways, moral of the story today with our coffee with Nick is this is Realtor Safety Month. Okay. And it is truly important. And I can't stress that enough. And like I said, I personally am paying attention to this all the time. There's a lot of great things on Instagram, on YouTube that can show you how to make sure that you're being safe. But your mindset's really your greatest tool, right? Like that is the greatest tool in your arsenal, in your toolkit. I'm not crapping on tools. I'm not even crapping on tasers. I'm not crapping on pepper spray. Well, who knows? We'll see on Friday, right? When Karina sprays me, we'll see if maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't think I am. And even if it does really hurt, I'm going to pretend like it doesn't. But let's see what happens there. Guns. Again, like I said, get them. Big fan. Train with them, right? Don't make the first time you ever touch that thing was when you really need it. That's not the right answer, okay? So those are all great. So tools, make sure you got that stuff. And if you do have an EDC, an everyday carry that you have, make sure it's an everyday carry, right? It's one of those things where like, I carry it every now and then. Well, hey, it's Murphy's Law, right? What can happen will happen. If you don't carry something that you plan for your safety all the time, the one day you don't carry it, that's when it's going to happen. So make sure that you're not relying on something that you don't always carry either. So that's not fair, right? Like, oh yeah, hey, I got my pepper spray. I mean, it's in the car, but yeah, I got some. That doesn't count. I'll be filming that pepper spray. And like I said, even if it does really hurt, it ain't gonna hurt. I hope. So that's a big one, right? And then training. Can't stress that enough too. Go out there and find out what you can do. Like I said, even people who I had a pretty good idea what I can do. Man, yesterday I walked onto those mats and thought, stand by everybody, I'm about to show some greatness. Whew. By the end, I was like faking injuries that weren't even there. I was like, oh my gosh, man, my elbow hurt a little bit. Back old wound from high school football forever ago. And this is important. We always need to be brought down a peg or two. Okay. So one of the really cool things, like I said, tomorrow at Gepar, Women's Council Realtors, they're going to be putting on a great deal. They've got some great speakers coming, and like I said, it's free lunch, right? So get on there, sign up for that bad boy, and let's go take a look at it. And the rest of this month, if you guys have some questions, by all means, ask me. I'm more than willing to talk about this ad nauseum, and we can even talk about other cool stuff too, right? Like safety and preppers, zombie apocalypse, things like that. And that's important too. Like you need to make sure that you're getting that kind of stuff going, because it might not just be the zombies. It could be, I don't know, a hurricane or electrical outage or something along those lines. Maybe it's something that you want to take care of. So that whole safety thing, I think it transcends just showing a house, right? It could be something as simple as, do you have a generator in case the electricity goes out? Because I think we saw all this kind of crazy stuff last year where, hey, everybody stay at home for 2 weeks. The average American, I think, has enough food in their house for like 2 days, especially if the electricity went out. I had this conversation with my brother. Hey, no, I got tons of meat. We could live there for a year and a half. What if the electricity goes out tomorrow? How long can you live there now? Right. And that's one of those kind of things where, do you have a plan for that? Do you have food? Do you have water? Do you have a means to get more of these kind of things? You never know, right? Because there's a lot of places in the world right now that they don't have it as easy as here in the Southwest, where our biggest complaint is, man, it's super windy yesterday, or it rained crazy. Like everybody else has all this crazy stuff. They have real issues that are going on right now, and that can happen anywhere. The electricity goes out, and all you have is a bunch of frozen meat. Guess what? You got nothing now. So that's something to think about. And if that's what your plan is, that's fine. But like I said, go out there and get a generator, something along those lines. So that's always cool stuff to talk about. Maybe we'll next time do a coffee with Nick, and I'll go full zombie on you guys, and we'll go that route. But I think I'm getting the red light from Brian. I think I'm hitting my time. So guys, thank you for joining Coffee with Nick. There'll be more of these, and stay safe, everybody. Have a great time, and I hope to see some people show up to that luncheon tomorrow. And I'll see you guys on Friday with my pepper spray eyes. We'll see what happens. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one.